On this episode, is it real to you? Hey everyone, this is the Quarter Show, and I want to talk about making something real to you. So, it's interesting, but one of the first things in order to do anything in life, get a sale or, things in business, entrepreneurial things, is it has to be real to you. And to the degree that something is not real, to you, it becomes a barrier. It becomes this sort of manifested barrier, manifested stop. And the reason is that, when you look at it, it's like if you're building a company and you knew two other people personally, on a personal level, let's say, that built a $100 million company, let's say they both built a $100 million company and you were there, or you witnessed it, or you personally knew them, it becomes more real to you because you personally knew those people, and therefore you know John and you know Sally who did it, and you saw them do it. There's an element that it's real that it can happen, and it's real that regular people have done it. And to that degree, it becomes real that you can do it. And the first barrier that you have to overcome in any goal, in any mountain you're trying to conquer, is it real to you? And if it's not real to you in any capacity, you have to figure out how can you make it real to you. And sometimes in sales or in anything, in business or whatever, things become unreal. And to the degree that they're unreal, you don't reach for them. You can't imagine it, or you can't sort of think with the idea, and therefore you don't go after it, or it becomes this unattainable goal. And so what you have to do is you have to figure out how do I make it real to me? How can I get into some situation where I can experience it, or it's real to me? And the second something becomes real to you, you can attain it. So even when you take a sales target, for example, if there's a target of $200,000 or $2 million for that matter in your company, and that target is not real to you, then you're never going to attain it. But if you take a target like $200,000 and you know John, who did that target, you saw him do that target, you saw what he did, it comes into sight and becomes very real to you. The same way that if you go and hit that target amazingly, you pull it off and you hit that target, the second you hit that target, it becomes very real to you personally.
And that's where a lot of the targets that I've been able to hit here at Richter became real, is after I did it, and then it became something that I could do. And I think that's a way that a lot of us work, and that's okay, right? So set a target, or get a target set for you, and then go get it done. And then it can become a new reality for you. And so I've just been able to start sort of seeing these higher targets that aren't set for me, or that I can just sort of glimpse and go, right, okay, I get it. I've done this enough now, these higher and higher targets. I've done this enough now that I can see that it doesn't really stop. There's no real ceiling necessarily to what you're doing. And so I can start to see these higher targets now. Whereas before, it was interesting.
It's just out of reach.
There was a time when we transitioned products and Robert set a new price for a certain new level of product, and every person, it was like 5 times what we normally say. Oh, this is such a bad idea. Robert, how dare you? You're bringing Richter down.
And we can't make it.
Instead, once we started doing it, everything just went whoosh.
Yeah, and because it wasn't real to them. It wasn't real to them. And so you have to figure out, how can I make the target real to me? How can I make the goal real to me? And one of the ways to do it is just look at it and say, well, is it possible? Is it possible that other people are doing it? Is it possible that somebody is doing this right now? And if it is it possible, you look at kind of the scenarios, the realities of them doing it. Is it possible that they do this? Is it possible that they do this? And it starts to become more real. And then, is it possible that I could do it? Right? Is it possible that I could do what they do? And the more real you make it, the better chance you have at hitting it. So if you first and foremost make your target real, make your goal real, make the thing you're trying to accomplish real, then go after it, because to the degree that it's not real is to the degree that you will not write it down and put it and take really strong, serious actions against it to truly pursue it at the right level, because it's not real to you. To some degree, it's not real to you, so therefore you won't go all in and do everything required to just come hell or high water, pull it off. You'll only take halfway measures, and halfway measures will not get it done. You have to go all in. It has to start by being real to you. The second it is real to you, you go after it for blood.
And as an example, it's interesting. There was a very cool client we brought on board that I brought on board last year, and very cool. And so in doing so, closed the fellow who I was working with, my contact there, super excited about the project. And then he tells me it's over to legal. And everybody knows legal, what they do is, I'm sure that legal is very important. I'm sure it's great, and this is not a hit on legal. But their existence is to review things, and my probably incorrect bias is that they're just like holding things off, and not all that was needed was a guy to go and read 4 pages of very simple plain English.
Just because you say it's not a hit on legal doesn't mean that this is not a hit on legal.
This is a hit on legal. This is flat out craziness. It's a 4.5 page dead simple English, no complications contract, and it's holding up what's happening. He's excited. Sure. This is for their company. It's for expansion. There's nothing complicated. So I called the legal guy myself. I'm not going to let this go another week. Another week? Are you kidding? Not another day. Mm-hmm. So I called the legal guy myself. He's never been called by a salesperson before. Mm-hmm. So I called him up. Hey, this is probably on your desk right now. Would you mind taking a look? We are ready to start right now. Oh, okay, sure. Right, and he read through it, and within the next hour, bing, bang, boom, all done. That definitely would have taken a week and a half, minimum a week and a half. And I've also talked to clients who their sales cycle, because their product is in the millions of dollars of purchase, right? Yep. That's what they're selling. Oh yes, a sales process for us takes about a year and a half. That's insane. We have so obviously, here's the thing. There's a tremendous amount of agreement that is so. The reality is that is true. I get it. And there are logistics, there are things that have to be done, but no sale takes that long. Yeah. That's simply insanity. So you have to mold reality. Yeah. You have to set your own targets. And this goes from the very high level executive, putting down the plans, laying out how things are going to go, and implementing it, right down to the salesperson who's like, my target is X, and I'm going to hit that target. Come hell or high water, it's going to happen. And down to, I'm going to handle this legal fellow to get this thing signed off. A year and a half sale, it's just human beings that have to talk to each other with paper. That's all it is.
It's real to a bunch of people that have been doing this for a long time, that it takes a year and a half. But if you change that and you change what's real to you, right, you could change that and say, what's real to me? What's real to me is that it could be done in six months.
Yeah, it's not. Here's the way not to do it. The way not to do it is go stomping in and tell everybody how wrong it is. And of course, it takes much less time. The way to do it is to have a sane conversation, not to rationalize and logic people into a corner so that they're like, oh God, he's right. Of course it doesn't. Is just to go, hey, why don't we do X? In terms of like mortgages and houses and things like this, it takes a million years. And you just go, can we get it done by, I think in getting this office space for us, Robert, it was like, oh, it'll probably be 3 weeks. And you're like, 6 weeks. I don't think so. 6 weeks. What did you do?
Like 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days, right? It's true story. 6 weeks is how long it takes to get into this office space. It took Robert 4 days. Yeah. And not because he's a customer of the building. That's not why.
Yeah. So look, it's the first thing is you have to change what's real to you. You have to change what's real to you. What is real to you, and you have to make something real to you. And you look at your target, you look at your goals, you look at anything you're trying to do. If in your company sales revenue, like Ben says, is 6 months, is it real to you? Is it possible that somebody's doing the same sale in 3 months? Is it possible that it could happen in 2 months? And if it is possible, how could you make that real to you? When things become real to you, it's a game changer in terms of your targets and everything else you're trying to do. So some targets come down the line, you're like, oh, we can never do XYZ target. but it's only because it's not real to you. The second it's real to you, it changes everything.
And I know you're wrapping up, but just going to say one more thing. So, and when you're selling a client a product, and I realized this as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, one of the folks in my lineup, what I'm selling them isn't real to me enough, right? So when you're selling your client, really understand what they're trying to get done.
Yeah.
Really understand what you're selling them, what it's for yourself on that phone call, in that email chain, whatever. Really understand it, because then when you come in to help them, to get them to be a client, it will so much assist you. There are specific projects that I closed recently that I believed in it so thoroughly that nothing was going to stop that thing from happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Make it real to you. Apply that to your targets and your goals, and it will be an absolute game changer. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at The Quarter, right there. Hashtag The Quarter, ask questions, ask them in the comments, different things like that. We're happy to answer them. Subscribe to the show, hit the like button. We certainly appreciate you watching, and we'll have more coming at you really soon here. Okay, thanks.
There was a look there, yeah. You'll like it.